There is a psychological blind spot that is quietly destroying your relationships, your career, and your peace of mind. And the worst part? You don't even know it's happening. Once you see this, the endless misunderstandings in your life will suddenly make perfect sense. We walk around assuming that communication is a simple exchange of data. I say the words, you hear the words, we both walk away with the exact same meaning. But that is a complete illusion, because human beings do not actually hear words. We hear words that have been violently filtered through our traumas, our hopes, our fears, and our past. In psychology, there is a cognitive bias called naive realism. It's the trick our brain plays on us, convincing us that we see the world exactly as it is. We assume that if a friend, a boss, or a stranger disagrees with us, or gets offended by something we said, they must be irrational, biased, or just being difficult. But your brain isn't a camera recording objective reality. It is a prediction machine. According to modern neuroscience, your brain constantly uses predictive processing to interpret the world. It takes the raw data of what someone just said, and it runs it through a mental filter built from your entire life history. Let's look at what this actually looks like across every area of your life. Imagine you are at work. Your boss says, "We need to review your recent project." If you have a history of harsh criticism, your brain's predictive model instantly flags a threat. You hear, "You are failing and I'm about to punish you." But if you have a secure history and a growth mindset, you hear, "I have an opportunity to get feedback and improve." Exact same words. Completely different realities. Or take a social interaction. You tell a friend or family member, "I just need some time to myself this weekend." To someone who struggles with abandonment, that phrase triggers a neurological alarm. They hear, "I am pulling away from you. You are a burden." But to someone with secure boundaries, they hear, "They are just recharging and will catch up next week." The words didn't change. The listener's invisible history changed the meaning that you felt this. I know you have. Think about a time you gave a coworker genuine feedback and they completely shut down. Or a time you tried to offer advice to a friend and they accused you of judging them. Or maybe you told your parents you were too busy to visit and they heard that you didn't care about them. You walk away thinking, "Why are they making this about me? That's not what I meant." But here is the secret I want you to hold on to for the rest of this video. It doesn't matter what you meant. Because in the human brain, the meaning of a message isn't determined by the sender. It is constructed by the receiver. And until you understand how they are constructing it, you will keep having the exact same arguments on a loop. So, why does the brain do this? Why can't we just hear the literal words? Because of something called schema theory. A schema is a cognitive framework your brain builds to help organize and interpret information. When you are growing up, your brain experiences moments of pain, moments of love, moments of neglect, and moments of healing. Over time, your brain says, "Okay, this is how the world works. This is what success looks like. This is what rejection looks like." Those schemas become the lens through which you view every single interaction for the rest of your life. When someone speaks to you, you aren't just processing their audio. You are matching their words against your schemas. You are hearing your own history echoed back at you. Now, there is a debate in psychology here. Some argue that if our brains are just predicting reality based on the past, we are trapped in our own heads. But clinical psychology, specifically cognitive behavioral therapy, shows us that while these schemas are subconsciously hardwired, they are not permanent. You can rewire them. But the first step is realizing they are there. And this isn't just a modern psychological discovery. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus figured this out. In chapter 5 of his Enchiridion, he wrote, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the judgments which they form about things." Notice he didn't say we are disturbed by the words people use. He said we are disturbed by the judgments, the interpretations, the schemas, the invisible stories we attach to those words. Epictetus understood that the gap between what is said and what is heard is where all human suffering lives. Once you truly internalize this, your entire approach to communication changes. You stop being so certain that the other person is just being stubborn. You stop assuming that every disagreement is a battle over who is objectively right. Instead, you become curious. When your friend gets quiet after you make a joke, instead of thinking, "They're being difficult," you ask, "What did you just hear me say?" When your boss sends a blunt, short email, instead of spiraling into, "I'm in trouble," you wonder, what schema of theirs is being triggered right now? Are they just stressed? You start looking for the invisible story they are hearing. You realize that to change the conversation, you don't just need to change your words, you need to understand their lens. Communication is not a transfer of data. It is an act of translation. And the most profound thing you can do for the people in your life, your partner, your kids, your coworkers, your friends, is to stop demanding that they speak your language and start trying to learn theirs. Because understanding doesn't begin when you finally make them see your point of view. Understanding begins the exact moment you realize that what you said and what they heard are rarely the same thing. If this shifted how you see your conversations, hit the subscribe button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one.